You know, I bought this box a couple months ago as well as many others, 25 boxes to be exact, for about $170. Now, those boxes are $700. That's pretty crazy in the span of 2 months. So today, we'll be talking about OP13, because it was just $500 a week ago. Now it's $700. So let me show you the prices of the top chasers. Let me show you the price of the boxes, and we'll discuss why it's this expensive, what is the probability that it goes down, and everything in between. And I'm just going to give it to you straight. It's not looking good. It's looking quite ugly. And the reason why is because it seems like Bandai actually don't want it to go down. I'll explain a little bit more further in the video, but let's begin. Alrighty, so this is OP13 right here. It is officially $700. Now, there's not really much of a surprise why this is $700. The reason why this is $700 specifically is because originally a lot of people were holding off because they were thinking, what if there's another print wave? Could that affect prices? However, the Bandai themselves made a press release and announced they will be selling boxes without the seal in their official stores. So what this has done is this has made the boxes incredibly expensive. Now, this is the misconception that a lot of people don't really understand, is that if the boxes are cheap, they have a difficult time selling them. If the boxes are expensive, they have a very, very easy time selling them. So they actually want the boxes to be expensive. And when you're investing in something, generally you want to roll with the waves. You don't want to go against it, and you want to match your incentive and how you'll make money based on what the big boys want. So Bandai, they can sell 1 million boxes if it is $700 on the resale market, but they sell it for $150 at their store. They can sell millions and millions of units. However, if this crashes down, they will have a difficult time selling it. So they want it to be expensive. It makes them more money. So it's in their best interest to make sure that this stays expensive. What is the best way to keep this expensive? Sell your boxes unsealed. People will pay for it either way. This is not a $100 box. This is not a $120 box. This is a $700 box. Whether it's sealed or unsealed, people will still pay for it. The difference is, if it's unsealed, it keeps the prices nice and high. This is something that I was talking about the second they made the press release, and I said this will only make things worse. And you can clearly see Bandai want things to get worse because then they make more money from it. For the record, I don't really care, to be honest with you. I kind of just roll with the punches, really whatever. You know, if they want to do it that way, great, let's invest that way. If they want to keep things nice and cheap, but then like, I don't know, maybe do short print runs, all right, sweet, let's invest that way, right? You kind of just got to roll with the punches and kind of invest accordingly. But anyways, let's talk about OP13, let's talk about the cards, but also what's going to happen to OP17, which is the next anniversary set. It's going to get freaking ugly. So anyways, let's talk about all of that. Alrighty, so $700 box, as you guys all know, the supply is drying up. The supply is really, really drying up. These are rare. These are really, really rare. So if you keep scrolling for like one or two, not even, the entire like first 2 pages are basically just Japanese boxes. You only get to English boxes on the 3rd page, and they're all like 700, 750, like it jumps up to 800 really quickly. But the only time you get a listing that's more than like 2 is this listing right here for $998 a box. This guy has 12 available. But other than that, from like $998 and below, they're all like 1 or 2 available. Only, I'd probably say 20 to 30 need to sell without more being relisted for it to be like a $900 box. Can that happen? I want to say no, but I was very doubtful it was going to go above $500. So here we are. So realistically, it's very difficult to like answer that. That's like impossible. This is way too new of a TCG. This is the kind of TCG where you kind of just see where things go. You kind of just learn and, you know, just kind of, I don't know, you're not really supposed to, you know, make all these swing trades, right? It's probably not the best decision. But anyways, talking about cases, it is $7,700 for a sealed case. So there is no premium on the cases. There is actually a discount. You can literally buy this case right now, crack all of the boxes, sell all the boxes on their own, and you'll probably make a profit. And then if you really wanted to, you could actually sell the brown cardboard box for probably like 100 to 200 bucks. So you can actually make a profit if you literally just buy these cases. There's actually a couple of them available for that range, especially if you can get some sort of like discount, like a coupon code or something. Yeah, so cases don't have a premium, which is really weird in my opinion. But anyways, with the Ace, it's now selling for $11,000 as a PSA 10, which is what the Red Luffy used to be. But now this is what this sells for, which is incredible. Looking at the red Luffy, it's now $24,000 as a PSA 10. There are only 121 PSA 10s. Now, if they don't reprint a lot of it, then this is going to be one of the rarest cards for the reason that I'd probably say a very large amount of the supply has been opened up. There is probably very little OP13 still sealed and still available. It's not like the thing is, if someone buys $10,000 worth of like Pokemon, they're investing into it. If someone buys $10,000 worth of One Piece, they're probably just chasing the top chase, right? A lot of the time. So the thing is, when you see those big sales, a lot of time it can literally just be a rip and shipper just restocking, or just an individual going, yeah, I'm chasing the red Luffy, I'm spending $10,000 doing that, and it's actually a fairly accepted thing in this industry. So I would be willing to bet there's actually very, very little OP13 boxes still available compared to, like, in the context that it's like a 3-month-old set. Now, the thing is that with OP13, they have done restocks, and you might be wondering, what are the unsealed boxes worth? So like I was saying earlier, they made that press release, which I'm sure all of you guys have seen, about how they will be selling unsealed boxes, and I explained in a video about a week ago, I was basically explaining they're doing that on purpose to keep prices expensive so they can sell as many units as possible. Think about it, if they sell 10 million units, this will go straight to MSRP. The market cannot soak in 10 million units, right? So if they want to sell that many, let's just say, random example, right? 10 million units. The best way to keep the market as strong as possible is sell those 10 million units, but unsealed. So step number 1, don't supply to distributors. Don't let card shops get second print waves. You don't need them. Sell it yourself. That way you'll make the most money. You're not going to be selling it at wholesale prices. You're going to be selling it at retail prices. So you get the maximum bang for your buck. But then on top of that, you also get to sell it unsealed. So price doesn't go down in the secondary market. You get to sell for the most. They're printing with this set. They are making bread. They are seriously bringing home the bacon. So the thing is, I'd be willing to bet that they are probably just going to keep pumping out those unsealed boxes. It's not going to do anything to the sealed price though. Now, unsealed boxes, what are they worth? Now they're worth about $480 unsealed, which is what booster boxes were worth sealed 2 weeks ago. That's pretty crazy. So overall, I think OP13, I think people have kind of just realized, like, if you can understand their incentive, you can clearly see they don't want it to go down, right? I just want to say before we continue this video, if you are picking up any boxes on TCGplayer or eBay, please do consider clicking my affiliate link before you do that. There are links in the comments or the pinned section. Basically, what you do is you just click the link, whether it takes you to the app or the website, it doesn't really matter. Then in the next 24 hours, any purchases you make, I get a small kickback. It doesn't add any further cost to you. It's a great way to support the channel. Appreciate everyone who does do that. It is the best way to support the channel. But anyways, let's continue with the video. Like, if you can see that OP01 is so expensive, you can see OP05, they haven't reprinted much of OP05. They did like one really fat release in 2024. I think it was like August. It was insane. But yeah, they just haven't done a lot. Like PRB01 was a massive hit when it came out. When PRB01 came out, that was during a quiet time in One Piece. But when it came out, it was a hit. It was somewhat difficult to find. Now, maybe that was just an Australia thing, but it was actually a little bit difficult to find booster boxes. You had to pay $10, $20 over the normal amount. I think, what was it, like 180, 190 AUD, which is like 120, 130 USD. But like at the time, you know, that was a lot because you could get boxes for like 160 AUD, but with this one you had to pay more like 180 to 190. So it's like a bit of a premium, right? But the thing is, this set is just, it's kind of too good where it's not really worth like waiting. A lot of people have kind of just decided like, it's a $700 booster box, sure, but at the same time, it justifies it, right? Something like OP05. OP05 only came out a year ago. Oh, sorry, no, it came out 2 years ago. So 2 years ago, that's when that came out. It's probably not going to get any more reprints OP05. It's probably done so. But it's like, what is this going to be in 2 years' time? So I think a lot of people have kind of just realized, like, they're not really reprinting many booster boxes. You can clearly see their incentive. They just want the boxes to be as expensive as possible. They are barely printing them. So in this instance, what's the point of waiting, right? So like, okay, it's the S&P 500. It's not like they print more S&P 500 shares, right? It's just the index fund. But the thing is, with Pokemon and with One Piece and with trading cards, there can be a time in the future where it gets much cheaper because of reprint if you're investing in a set that's in rotation. But if they barely reprint it, what's the point of waiting? There's no point of waiting. It's like, imagine, let's just say Blue Bottom, right? Imagine you go to somebody and they say, yeah, I want to invest in Blue Bottom. But then they say, but I'm going to wait 2 years. And you'd say, why? It's just only going to continue to go up over this period of time. Why would you wait 2 years when it just makes sense to just enter now because it's not going to get reprinted? It's the same thing as this. It's like, why would you want to wait? We can clearly see that Bandai barely reprint, so then you can just enter it now. And I think that's what a lot of people have realized, and that's why a lot of people are entering it at $700, because they're thinking like, okay, sure, it's still in rotation for 2 years, but that means jack shit. They're clearly just doing a massive release, selling everything, all the future releases in their official stores unsealed. Well, what's the point of waiting? There's no point of waiting. And that's why we're seeing it jump from 500 to 700. Now, realistically, can it go to 800, 900, 1,000? Who realistically knows? Very difficult to predict. This could be the most expensive box we see behind White Bottom. Maybe. Who realistically knows? It's something that is kind of just up in the air. It's like, it is 2 years younger than other boxes enough time? Because I know for things like, say, Pokemon is a good example. That's something you can compare it to. There are some sets that are 2 years like younger than other sets, but they're far better, so they're more expensive. This is already one of the most expensive booster boxes to date. So then, could this then be more expensive like OP13? Could it? I mean, this set value is 34,000 USD, and then if you get the Luffy as a PSA 10, it's a 24 grand card. So there's a lot of incentive there. But then at the same time, OP05 has the signature Luffy, which is like, I think $15,000. And then it's got the Gear 5 Luffy, which is like $20,000, right? So then, yeah, the question is like, where is this going to be placed? Can this be the most expensive box other than base set? Who realistically knows? That's something that we're just going to have to see. But it's definitely possible, considering how much better it is than other boxes. I just want to say, I still think about this to this day. This guy started watching my channel really, really early on with my One Piece channel, like November, and he said that he's not going to buy OP13 because obviously early days I was like selling buy, like it's so worth buying, it's the best thing to buy. Like even people who were in Pokemon, I was saying like, dude, if you don't even know what One Piece is, it doesn't matter, buy OP13. But what's funny is this guy, he said that he was going to wait for it to hit 160, and it was 170 at the time. He said, I'm waiting for it to hit 160 and then I'm going to buy it. And I said to him, I was like, bro, I'm begging you, please just buy it. Like, do not wait. Or at least just buy some now. I still think about that guy. Like, where's that guy headed now? Like, did he end up buying some? Oh, man, if that guy didn't buy some, I guarantee you that guy's... Oh, he's probably so mad right now. Oh, I feel bad for people like that. But, I mean, I guess you just kind of got to just not do that. But yeah, people have kind of woken up that if it's not going to get reprinted, what's the point of waiting? And if there are reprints and it's so small or they're unsealed boxes, what's the point of waiting? There's no point of waiting. OP05, after the fat reprint of August 2024, there was no point of waiting. It was just up from there. These kind of boxes don't get fat reprints. Like Pokemon, there were resets for that. Things like Lost Origin a couple years ago, there would be a fat reset where it hit 150, 160, 170, and boom, it would get reprinted. Or something like, honestly, something like OP01 White Bottom. That jumped up. It was like 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then once it hit like 4, 5, 600, about that range, then it got a reprint in 2024. And then boom, it collapsed. But like from since then, we haven't seen fat reprints. Like OP09, there hasn't been a fat reprint for that. So it's just continuously been going up. And then you got things like EB01, EB02, and then everything in total constantly going up. You can clearly see people are kind of losing hope that there's going to be any sizable reprints. So then people are kind of just entering in now. Can't say I blame them. If you're asking if it's worth buying it now, my advice still stands, dollar cost average. That is your best bet. I think dollar cost averaging is just the best thing you can do during turbulence. If something crashes to the floor, I don't think it's worth dollar cost averaging because how much lower can it get? But if something is making sky high prices, dollar cost averaging is just such a smart idea. You can just buy as it goes up and then buy as it goes down. Who knows? If this could go down, I would love to be in a euphoric state and say this is never going to go down, but who realistically knows? It's very difficult to predict, but it is something that is possible. It can happen. Perhaps $700 is a bit too crazy. Perhaps OP17 comes out, which we need to talk about that in a sec, but perhaps that OP17 comes out and steals a little bit of the show. Do I think that's going to happen? No, but it is possible. So then dollar cost averaging, in my opinion, is 100% a good decision. Even if this goes to 500, which it probably won't, but let's just say it does. Even if it goes to 500, great. Well, then you can buy it a little bit cheaper. So I just think dollar cost averaging is the best way to go. And also, final reason why I think dollar cost averaging is so smart is that you get to, it's more manageable to buy. You don't have to pull strings. You don't have to pull money out of the emergency fund. You don't have to do whatever. You can just slowly but surely buy it, which makes things a little bit more like low key, a little bit more smooth sailing to purchase. Now, the final thing we need to talk about in this video before I wrap things up is OP13, the anniversary set. That is going to be massive. I don't think we have any information what is going to be inside of OP17, but just by speculation alone, GG's well played. I'll tell you why. OP05 was a massive hit. That rode all the way up to like 320 when it came out. That was massive back then. That was insane numbers back then. Ridiculous numbers back then. What happened was a lot of the speculation that, you know, it was doing really well, a lot of the speculation ran to OP09. And people went, oh, is OP09 going to do really big numbers? Now, when OP09 came out, it was a pretty good success. And at least in Australia, there was actually a premium on it. It was like a $50 premium for you guys, about $30 USD premium. So I think in Australia, you couldn't really get them much lower than like 160, 170 USD versus the normal ones where it's like 140. So it did have a little bit of a premium, but it didn't have that OP05 state. But there was speculation that it would do insane numbers purely because the previous anniversary set did really well. So OP13, it has done really well. If we look at the one pattern we get, it seems like OP17 might be, it might have that speculation. It might have that thought process where people go like, oh, hang on, OP13 jumped from $170 to $700. Maybe OP17 is going to do the same thing. Well, I'm going to buy into it, and I'd be willing to bet pre-orders are going to be $400 or $500 right at the gate, because that's just how speculation works. Speculation is a very strong thing, so it can really make numbers pump. In fact, funnily enough, I would be willing to bet a lot of this pumping right now is purely speculation. Right now, I would be willing to bet a lot of people buying, it's investors selling to investors, selling to investors, selling to investors. Right now, a lot of this price is speculation that there won't be reprints in the future. A lot of the time, when something goes up a lot, it's because people are speculating it'll do well, so then they buy into it. But then it's like actually tested in the future, and then once it's tested, if it does well in the wild, great. If it then underperforms, it pulls back a bit. So yeah, right now, I do think that at $700, it is probably mostly investors selling to investors. I kind of doubt that collectors are buying it at this price, especially the fact you can get unsealed boxes for $450. And why would you buy a $700 box if you plan to just rip it anyways? So that is just my thought process there. Pretty weird state where OP13 is in. I'm gonna be real, I didn't see this happening, and I don't think anyone saw this happening. I did not see a single person online predict it would be a $700 booster box. When it was 170, yeah, almost every single video I was saying buy it, buy it, buy it. Constantly buy it, buy it, buy it. And once it was like 300, I was a bit hesitant, but I was saying I'd still buy it, just dollar cost average, dollar cost average, dollar cost average. Goes up, dollar cost average, just keep dollar cost averaging. But I don't think anyone realistically predicted it would hit 700. But honestly, after Bandai made that announcement that it would be, they are going to be selling unsealed boxes, I think that's where everybody kind of realized, like, all right, Bandai, we know you're not siding with the players, you're not siding with making it cheaper, you're not siding to fight scalpers, you're just trying to sell as many as possible, which you can't blame them. But then in that instance, then you go ahead and buy it because it's like, all right, yeah, they're probably not going to do any more reprints with sealed boxes, at least anytime soon. So yeah, let me know what you think about this. I'm very keen to see people's thoughts because this has never happened in, I'm pretty sure, just the history. Oh, well, it's never happened in One Piece. That's never happened. I'll just go ahead and say that because I've been there pretty much the entire time. So I'll go ahead and say, never happened in One Piece. Pokemon, I don't know. I've been in Pokemon since 22, 23, so I'm not too sure if that's ever happened with Pokemon, but maybe it has. Who knows? I don't know. Maybe some X and Y, maybe stuff like that. But if it's never happened in Pokemon, if it's never happened in Magic, might be the first time this has ever happened in trading card history. But I'm sure it's happened in the past once or twice before, but it's just insane.